Welcome. Today, we're going to talk about something really important, drawing from some great insights over at DailyCaring.com. We're looking at some simple, but honestly, really powerful ways to make a home more dementia-friendly. I know, it sounds like a weird question, right? But stick with me because the answer unlocks a huge principle in dementia care. So today, we're going to break down 4 really simple but powerful changes you can make at home to help a loved one. And yeah, by the end of this, you'll totally get why a colorful toilet seat can be an absolute game changer. So first things first, we've got to understand what's really going on here. Dementia isn't just about memory loss. It actually physically changes how the brain processes what the eyes are seeing. I mean, it can mess with everything from depth perception to just knowing where you are in a room. It makes it super hard to tell objects apart or even just walk through a familiar space. Just try to imagine that for a second. The home you've lived in for years suddenly feels like a confusing, stressful maze. That's what's happening. So the changes we're talking about, they're not just about safety, preventing falls. They're about cutting down on that daily anxiety and helping your loved one feel safer, more secure, and more independent in their own home. All right, let's jump into our first tip. It's all about clearing out the visual clutter. Think about it. Things like glare from a window, weird shadows, or even really busy patterns on the rug, they can be totally overwhelming and honestly, sometimes even frightening for someone with dementia. So the big idea here is to swap out that confusing visual stuff for things that are calm and predictable. Here's a great example. For a brain that's struggling to make sense of signals, a super shiny floor might look like a wet, slippery puddle. It looks dangerous. So just by swapping that out for a matte, non-shiny surface, you give them certainty. You take away that fear. It's such a small change, but it can have a massive impact on their confidence. And you know what the best part is? These are easy fixes. We're not talking about a full-on home renovation here. Covering a shiny table with a simple tablecloth, or hanging up some sheer curtains to cut down on that harsh sunlight. These are just simple edits you can make to the environment that make a world of difference for them. Okay, so if step 1 is getting rid of all that background noise, step 2 is making the important stuff really stand out. And the easiest way to do that? Color and contrast. It's all about making those environmental cues so obvious that the brain just has less work to do. This is such a classic example, but it's a great one. Think about pale food, like chicken or mashed potatoes, on a white plate. It can be really hard to see. But if you use a high contrast plate, a bright red one, for example, suddenly the food just pops. It's right there, super visible, and that empowers them to eat more independently. And here we go, back to our opening question. You know how most bathrooms are just a sea of white? White walls, white floor, white toilet. Well, for a brain that's already struggling, trying to find the toilet in all that white is a huge challenge. But a brightly colored toilet seat, it's like a beacon. It makes the target completely obvious. And that one simple change can prevent accidents, cut down on stress, and really truly support their dignity. And you can use this trick everywhere. A light switch blending into a white wall. Slap on a colored switch plate. Now it's easy to find. All the doors in the hallway look the same? Paint their bedroom door a different, bright color, or put a big photo of them on it. It becomes a clear landmark just for them. Okay, so what happens when the big challenge is memory? When they can't remember which cabinet has the coffee mugs and it turns into this frustrating search every single morning. Well, that's where visual labels are a lifesaver. It couldn't be easier, really. Just take a picture of what's inside, like a mug, and stick it on the outside of the cabinet. It completely bypasses the need to read or to remember. It's just a direct visual cue that helps them find what they need and feel like they're still in control. But a quick pro tip here, you've got to find a balance. If you label every single thing, you're just creating a new kind of visual clutter, right? So instead, just focus on the most important stuff. The bathroom door, the drawer with their sweaters, the cabinet with their favorite cup, the essentials. All right, our last tip tackles a hidden danger that's so easy to forget about: big panes of glass. Because as that visual processing gets weaker, glass can become pretty much invisible. Someone with dementia might just not see a closed sliding glass door or a clear shower door, and that can lead to some really serious accidents and injuries. But the good news is, the fix for this is so simple. All you have to do is add a few decals or maybe a poster right at eye level. That's it. It just makes the barrier obvious. It breaks up that invisible look and sends a clear signal to the brain, hey, something is here. It's literally a 5-minute job that could prevent a really bad accident. So, when you pull all of this together, you can see these aren't just decorating tips, are they? They're practical, empathetic ways to help, and they have a huge emotional impact. There's this quote from Dr. Al Power, a geriatrician, that just hits the nail on the head. The point is, you're not just making physical tweaks to a house. You're actually building an environment that supports the abilities your loved one still has. You're empowering them to live with more confidence and a whole lot less frustration.
At the end of the day, look, we can't change how their brain is working. But what we can change is the world we're presenting to their brain. By making things simpler, adding that contrast, and giving them clear cues, we help make their world feel more manageable, more predictable, and just safer.
So that brings us to the big question. What one small change will you make today? I mean, think about it. It could be something as simple as throwing a colorful cloth over that shiny table, or even just taping a picture of a toilet onto the bathroom door. The real power here is just starting. Just pick one small change and do it. And that's a wrap on this explainer with some fantastic insights from DailyCaring.com. If this was helpful for you, please go ahead and like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.